Alrighty. Okay. Just one of those videos where I actually kind of discuss things. Uh, we still don't have people in this video, but since I'm going to be recording this, and it's kind of like one of those videos where I would actually just put in like a regular video, but I think one of the things that I want to show is how I do these things so that you guys are kind of part of the process. Um, this is typically how I make a video. So I just turn the camera on. I have my mic, and maybe I'll have the mic closer or whatnot. But um, the thing here is that um, majority of the videos, if not all the videos I make, are one take. Because even out in the real world, I don't do real, like double takes and just to get a good shot or whatnot. um, I honestly believe that there's a lot of people that are doing that and they're doing a great job, and that's their style, and that's all in good. But for me, I kind of see it as kind of fake, and what I want to show in this channel is what do you call this? Like the most objective stuff, or most objective things I can show. All right. So the topic for this video is light jigging reels, and these are reels that largely have level lines. And I only want to talk about the reels that I have experienced myself, because it's kind of pointless to actually say like, oh, this reel is bad, this reel is good, and then you don't have extensive experience in using them. So to be very fair, for the longest time I have been using these reels. Okay, so these reels actually serve a different purpose. Um, I have two of these. One is HG, one is PG, and this is the PG version. And I have one of these, which is the HG version. And also, this is the Ocea Calcutta. This is the Ocea Conquest, mid end or top mid, I would say. And this is like the very top for Shimano. All right. Both for the same purpose, pretty much. So this I would use in well, specifically for this one, it's filled up with PE 1.5, and I use this mostly for tie rubber and in Chico. Okay, so it's HG, and then this one is PG, and I usually use this for either fast jigging or slow jigging. The HG that I have is also something that I use for either in Chico and tie rubber and slow jigging. So this is like for shallower water. That one's for a little bit deeper, or when I find myself in a situation wherein I'm using jigs that need like a faster presentation. Um, there are instances like that. So I always carry these three when I used to go fishing. And then lately, what I have been using is this one right here. And this is a Blue Safari from Studio Ocean Mark. And this is factory modified to have the Blue Heaven handle. These other reels from what do you call this, from Shimano, I've also changed the handles because obviously they weren't really made for the applications I were using them on. So kind of not really purposely built, this one at least. But this one, well, it's built for light jigging. But I changed the handle as well because the handle that it came with was very uncomfortable. So the process for me is that when I have a reel intended for the purpose that I am going to be using it for, one of the very first things I take a look at is the handle and comfort in handling them. Now, in a place where it's highly very unpredictable, such as the Gulf, which is where these are extensively used, I've come into some situations where I'm fishing for some other fish and then one other fish jumps in. A very good example is when I was using one of these. I think it was the HG, and I was fishing in deeper water, let's say about 57, 60 meters, and I was using a snapper ball, which is basically a tie rubber, you know. So I was working it, and then bang, something big hit it, and I wasn't really intending to fish for that particular fish, but at the end of the day, my name's Kit, not God, so I can't still choose which fish would bite, even if I'm targeting something else. Um, and that was an amberjack because we were fishing pretty close to a wreck. So an amberjack hit a snapper ball, which is like it didn't receive the memo that it's not supposed to be something for it to bite, and then bang. Now this cannot stop that thing, and however big that was, and I remember that it took me around the boat 3 times, and someone else was hooked up, but this is light line, so you can't really, like, even if this is spooled with point 0.8, by the way. So 0.8 PE. So, even if, let's say, I would have all the chances in the world to actually fight the fish and everything, it's still the drag on this. It's still not as robust as you want it, because guess what? Even if you crank this thing down, you know, um, you could still actually still pull, drag, and you know, it's a good reel. It's a very, very good reel, and I love using it. It's just that, after a while you find that there are limitations to what it can do, especially when you fill it up with line. But what are you supposed to do when you're out there, right? And you're out in the middle of nowhere, and then something bites, something like that bites. So this is where these things come in. Bigger reel. Okay. Now I would say though that the retrieve ratio, even on a slow reel like this, and this is the Power Gear model, uh, it's still going to be faster than this. So I found it to be a bit more, um, let's say, when you're using this compared to the Calcutta, um, it works almost like a mid gear more than a slow gear, even if it is like a slow gear. Okay, so this is 70 centimeters for one crank. All right, now the Ocea Calcutta PG. Let me go and check Ocea Calcutta PG. Okay, let's see if I can actually, because one guy suggested, right, share the screen. Oh yeah, by the thanks so much for that, Roxo. It's the 200. Okay, so let me share, because it's actually good. So I'm sharing my screen now. We're looking at Osha Calcutta PG, and then we're going to. Uh, how do you stop sharing? Actually, there it is. So this is cool because at least you also get to see what I'm seeing. So whoever suggested, I forget who, but whoever was suggesting it, that's great. Um, PG left, that would be it. So it's 58 cm. That's there we go. So uh, oh no, this is Osha Calcutta. Sorry, I meant Conquest, right? Conquest. My bad. Okay, so it should be about the same though. Uh, there we go. It should be, and guess what? When I do this and I drink water, you guys don't have to see. So okay, look at the handle of this. If you see the handle, this is one of the reasons why I had to change the handle on it. It's nice and everything, but it's short. So it's still short. This is the newer version too. The old one had a knob, a circle knob, and this one has like the fall lever. Anyway, the spec should be the same as far as the gearing is concerned. Uh, this is 300. Where's the 200? Okay, Conquest. See, they don't have the Conquest anymore. What the heck? The 200. I think this is like the 300, right? See, they only have the 300. Where's the 200? Maybe this one. There we go. So 200 PG. So, oh yeah, it had like the, what do you call this? It had the paddle handles. It was the HG that had like the thing. Okay, retrieve per crank at 60 cm. It wasn't like that. It was actually lower. But anyway, 58 or 60. At the end of the day, it's still slower, and that's what I said. As far as the what do you call this? As far as this reel is concerned, it takes in more line, so it's acting like a mid gear more than a an H, sorry, an a PG, and that's also sort of something that's also very useful, especially when you're slow jigging. You still want to be able to crank in as much of the slack as you want. Is PE 2.5 the size cut off for slow jigging and PE for start of fast jigging? I forgot the class of jigging. Besides, PE 3 would fall under. You mentioned earlier. Um, there's really no distinction, and I honestly believe that it's not the line; it's the jig that you put at the end of your line. Uh, for me, 1.5 actually, it's kind of like the max I would go for light jigging. PE2, remember, PE2 is already the standard for slow jigging, and for slow jigging you're already putting like up to 500 grams on a PE2, you know so so it's that, what do you call, by the way, Roxo, did you see the screen? Did you see the screen that I was sharing? uh Nice day. Cool. Thank you. Uh, ah, really? Okay, hold on. Let me share the screen. Okay. Uh, ah, there. Hold on. So, what I was okay. Sorry, it's my first time doing this. So, uh, how do I stop this sharing? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Uh, what I want to do is share the screen, and then I'll window. Uh, Whoop. Okay. Uh, Wrong window. Okay, hold on. See, I want to share there we go, the tab there. All right. So this is the tab. This is what I want to share. So are you guys seeing the tab? You guys are seeing the tab? I need to know if you guys are seeing the tab. Okay. And then it was the Calcutta PG that I was looking at. Okay, not that. Actually wrong. It's supposed to be the Calcutta Ocea what is this? Conquest 200 PG. There we go. Okay, great. So, okay, browser. There we go. So, how about that? Can you see that? Can you see the browser? Right? Oh yeah, there it is. So I can the browser. There we go. I actually could see what I'm doing. So uh really, that's odd. How do I? Um, Basically, I just wanted to show this. There we go. It is. Okay, so the specs of this. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom this in. Uh, where is it? Geez, I don't even know how to zoom this in. Yeah, basically, I'm just showing the specs. Okay. Uh, the specs, like it shows this one right here. Most important detail. Okay. So it's 60 centimeters per crank. I don't know how to zoom it in, guys, honestly. Uh, Jeez, because the browsers, what do you call this? The browsers function, you know. It's, and I'm afraid that you guys might see like the Pornhub tab. Zoom. Where's the? Ah, there it is. Zoom. There we go. There. So that's the kind of detail that I was looking at. And see, there's two things that we need to look at here. Okay. Hold control and scroll up and down with the mouse. Okay, control. Perfect. You guys rock. Perfect. Okay, so when we're doing this, right? And I'm supposed to be techie. Oh my god. So when you're doing this, you can see, right? 200 PG right here. That's the kind of size that I'm looking at. And you have, forget the ratio. The ratio doesn't really matter. You can put like 4.5 is to 1 there, or 4.8. And then depending on the size of the spool, which is the case that we're dealing with here, the retrieve per crank is 60 centimeters, right? It has 6 kg drag. And here's another detail that you might want to look at. It is the capacity. So PE2, 200, and then PE1, 440. These are the things that, kind of matter, especially when you're fishing in, let's say, water that's up to about 50 meters, right? Now, we look at Studio Ocean Mark. So those are the things that you need to remember, right? I mean, for me, of no consequence. So here we're looking at Blue Safari 35. There we go. Funny story. After this, I'm going to show you guys something. So we go to the specs. Here's something that you guys absolutely have to really look at. Okay. There. So um, so everything okay now, guys? So for this one, for this particular one, you can actually see you have a spool that you could put 1.5, and it'll give you like 300 for 1.5, and then you can have 200, and then the deep spool, which gives you like 600 of 2. Now the beauty of this is that you can have any of these spools, and you can either put a thinner line on the 1.5. These are all just standardization, right? But you can put whatever line you want to put in. It's just it's easier to remember when you're putting in PE2 300, let's say, for the black one, and then PE2 600. So if you're putting PE 1.5 on this 600 spool, you'll essentially doubling, so you'll probably have like almost doubling. You're almost like at what 800 or something like that. It gets expensive really fast, but you'll find that it's more variable, right? And I think the good thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to this particular reel is that it's very modular. It's very easy to take off while you're in the water. Whereas when, like in the scenario that I was at with the, what do you call this? The PG, right? The 200 PG. When that amberjack hit, and I was wishing that, hey, I really wish I had like a heavier rod, because guess what? When we went there, it was literally for what do you call this? Two fish actually. We were hunting for soldier brim. It's a pink fish, so almost like a pink snapper. So that was one, and then the other was spangled emperor. That was it, and we were geared for that particular fish. It's just that we didn't know that at that time of year, amberjacks also kind of moved in. So the advantage of the blue safari is that you can change the spool. So literally, you can change the spool, and then even if you had like a rod that couldn't handle it, all you have to do is literally just point the rod, and especially when you're fishing with slow jigs, you can just switch to a heavier line, and then boom, at least have a fighting chance because zero point 0.8 and PE2, a huge difference, right? Um, I just found that switching to the blue safari was actually a bit more comfortable when it comes to certain things. Now, having said that, okay, I have not actually fished it with lines lower than PE 1.5. And I guess even for me, I wouldn't recommend actually going there. Okay. Um, for lines that are lower than 1.5, I am perfectly happy with the Ocea Calcutta and the Ocea Conquest. Now, I'll tell you something. First, the funny story about this. Okay, so um, let me stop. Okay, funny story about this reel. So when I was sent this, uh, they asked me if I wanted to do something special with it, right? And I said like, listen, I really don't like counterbalanced handles. So I want the what do you call this? I want the reel to have like a normal uh, blue heaven handle, and then I go, but can we change the handle to cork instead of because I said like cork would look really good, especially with the gold champagne things. It's kind of vain, I know, but um, they said yes. So they did that. Also, I said, but since I am also looking at using this for what do you call this deeper water, why don't you actually give me um, the deeper spool? So they get, oh, okay, okay, Kitson, we will do that, right? And then when I arrived, when the reel arrived, you have a public facing email for more direct lines of questioning. Uh, it's what do you call this? Instagram. You can contact me on Instagram, same username, and or we can chat there if you want. Are the Shimano baitcaster reels run smaller than Daiwa other manufacturers when it comes to sizing? Shima, um, before, what happened was that Daiwa had a different sizing convention. Now they have the same. So pretty much it's head to head. Before, it was kind of like whatever was half of Shimano sizing would be what Daiwa was. Like take for example, if you say 100 Daiwa, it would be 3,500 on what do you call this 3,500, or a 4,000 on Daiwa would be 7,000. Sorry, not 7,000, but 8,000. But Daiwa has changed recently, so when it says 8,000 in Daiwa, it would be 8,000 in Shimano as well. Um, I may ask a question when you're done answering the others. Go ahead. Nice day. Wow, that's very polite. Go ahead. Just ask because I read the comments anyway. So and I answer the question after. But let me show you guys something funny, right? So after showing or after asking for the reel, this is what they came up with. Excuse me. Right, so it was pretty funny that they actually had to make a reel that was very similar to mine. So basically it's the same thing except that it has like carbon handles and then the deeper spool, because when people, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but when people actually saw what I did, they said like, hey, that's pretty cool, we want something like that. So they did a limited run on these what do you call this So that's the reel. Okay, so if you want, I guess if you want something that's similar to mine, you know, they have it. I'm not too sure if it's still for sale though, but that's that's it was pretty funny. Now, go ahead and ask your question. Nice day, because I also want to share something that I kind of don't agree with, after. All right. So this is of course, uh, it's my first time fishing for yellowfin tuna in Andaman on Polaris one. I'm looking to get this set up. Okay, but what type of fishing? Oh God, Halcyon. Jeez. Uh, I'll tell you right now already. Uh, a bit of a big question mark when it comes to, like, what do you call this? The rod. I don't know, man. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, Roxo. Yeah, it's weird because when I go live, I still, being my age and everything, I still have the under. I'm still under the assumption that there people are watching in a laptop or like a big screen or whatever. Okay, so all right now, you know, um, oh God, you're putting me on the spot, Shima. Um, okay, let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this, and there's a lot of people that would agree or disagree with my answer. Okay, um, the Shimano 2500 LD. All right, um, it is not as smooth compared to what? Okay, I'm reading your, what do you call this, nice day. So if, list everything down, and then we can get, we can go through it. And in between, I'll answer people like, Shima here is trying to put me in a to a star drag. Okay, um, it's a very good point. Okay, now this has a lot to do with, how a, lever drag is made. Okay, and there's also this thing with people who don't know how to set or preset drags on, um, a, level. Sorry, not a level one, but a lever drag. Okay, so let me actually get a reel, and, I will answer your question. Okay. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And then star drag, that's a perfect example. Okay. So I actually had to pull out, two reels. Okay. So, this is a Pen 525. Okay. Star drag. Right. Now, star drag, when you crank the drag, so super tight, see? Right? And then you reel, it's the same. It's not gonna bind or whatever. So that's as tight as I can take a pair of pliers. Okay, um, you know tighten the drag, and guess what, it's gonna reel and maintain. Okay, whatever the drag setting is. So don't do this, guys. This is an annoying habit that the Californians actually do with their star drags. So that's literally how they lock up the drag. All right. So see, no binding, no whatever. Okay. Now you have a lever drag. And what happens with a lever drag is that you preset everything, and then it has this knob. You preset that. Okay. Now here's the thing: you reel it in. All right. You reel it. Okay. Perfect. Right. But as soon as you tighten up the, what do you call this? The preset too much, it affects. See, now it's it's hard to crank, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. Now there's resistance because guess what? The drag itself is affecting my crank. Okay. So here's the thing: there's a correct way and there's a wrong way of setting the uh, the lever drags. Okay. And you just have to learn how to do that. Now another thing that it affects is also your free spool. Okay. So if it's, if it's too tight, your preset, all right, what happens is that your free spool gets affected. See, that's on free spool. All right, that's on free spool. And guess what? I'm not supposed to be able to reel that in. So a lot of people would say that it's not as smooth and all that. um, it could be that they just don't know how to set the drag properly. There's an upper limit and a lower limit on how to set your drags for your lever drag reels. Just learn. That's it. People kind of don't know. Also, remember that um, this is Shimano. VTX 9XH is the model of a Halcyon rod. So, people in party boats and stuff like that, they're not the most technical when it comes to gear. And you're dealing with an LD, Shimano Ocea Jigger LD. That's like something from Japan. That's what do you call this? It's a bit of a technical reel, right? It's literally one of it's literally one of Shimano's reaction to the market having lever drag reels such as Studio Ocean Marks, dominating it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so going back to Nice Day, um, 2500 or Accurate Valiant. I'd take the Shimano over a Valiant. Tuna jigging around 70 meters depth, but run all the way 300 meters deep. Okay, pretty standard. My hands are so small that I'm leaning towards a Shimano OJ. Yeah, that's what I just said. But people are telling me 600 Accurate Valiant is more suitable. It kind of depends. Um, have difficulty palming it. Yes, but okay. Let me actually get a reel that's big so that I can show you. Jigging weight around 250 grams. Yeah, fuck. This is why I hate fishing for big fish. Um, just had to check my Avid lever drag. It does get a little tighter at higher scale. Yeah, it's still smooth, but if you overdo it, it binds. It's how it's constructed. It's how these things are constructed. The design of the what do you call this? The design of the lever drag has a lot to do with it's called drawbar technology. So basically, as you tighten this, there's going to be a bar that goes from one end to the other, and it pulls it close. Whereas with star drags, they use a bridge plate, but at the same time, the bridge plate also has like a number of problems. So like this, the bridge plate, you won't have as high of a drag as you would with lever drags. That's the limitation of the bridge plates, which brings the technology of pen that had before, that pure fishing literally what do you call this, disregarded, which is the hold on, let me remember correctly, it's the integrated uh, side plate technology. There we go, IST. And only a few reels had those. I think only one actually. It would be the first Squall series. So there's the 100, 200, 300 that had the IST, and all the parts were actually in the side plate, and they done away with that. Okay, so it might have been an Avid or Accurate. I can't remember. Yeah. Uh, all reels actually would have a strike and a full. With the Halcyon, I can custom the reel seat to a small reel seat so it can fit my hand better. Like, it has nothing to do with the reel seat. It has a lot to do with it with the reel. Okay, now um, the having a 600. Okay, let me get my. All right, let me just get this thing so I can help you better. Uh, I have to dig for it. So this is the part of the office you guys are not seeing, but let me try and see if I can. Here we go. That's a big reel. That's something that can help for illustration purposes. Okay, it's back here. Okay, so that's not. All right, that's a 500. Uh, but all right. So here we go. Nice day only for you. So I have a reel here that I can show you that's actually pretty freaking big. Now I'm gonna take a rod, okay, that's similar in spec to your Halcyon. All right, so this is Max 500. This is a cheap Chinese rod because I'm at a point where, as far as the what do you call this? As far as fast jigging is concerned, I kind of don't spend much on fast jigging. Uh, okay, now uh, this this is a 500. Okay, so if you could put a 500 there, you will see. And this is kind of similar to an LD, right? So palm. I have small hands. Okay, so palming this is definitely the only difference, by the way, with the LD on this one is like the width. Okay. Um, Now, if you go to something like a 600, we'll go. I have one that's similar. It's the 655, I believe. Whoa! Almost dropped it. All right, which is kind of difficult to palm, and I get you. But this is even bigger. All right. Um, this is kind of like a custom too. All right. This is a an Avid Raptor. Okay, and it's 50 size. Okay, so this is the, as you can see there, it's HX J3. So it's actually a narrow reel, and it is 3 speed. And the owner was actually the guy that I spoke to for this, and you know, kind of helped me out. This is one of the very few, or if not the one of the very first 3 speeds out of their factory. That's why if you look, the serial number on this is like 25. And he said that outside of their pro staff, I'm the only one who got this. Like, this was back a few years. Okay, so as you can see, it's very difficult to palm, and this might be an extreme example. And just to give you guys an idea, how much of a lady finger guy I am, I'm gonna get a pen. God, it's so. Oh, there we go. Here's a pen. Okay, standard pen. Okay, you can see there. I have small hands. Okay, see there. So very small hands. Now, when you're jigging, there's a few ways around it. Yeah. So okay, you're going like that. So it doesn't matter how big the reel is. You know, you can hold it like that. You can hold it like that. I usually hold it like this. Okay, see, and it doesn't matter how big it is. You can see that it's, you don't have to palm it like that. You don't have to. You shouldn't actually. You should go like this, right? And then I think the most important thing is that a lot of people don't realize that when you're jigging, you actually have more control if you just hold it. Yeah, just like that. You see, instead of like holding it like that, just hold it like that, and it balances in your hand. If if you have a balanced system, what happens is that it just sits, you know, just like that. So a Valiant 600 or what do you call this? It doesn't matter, you know, just like that. It gets a little bit okay, like that. Okay, so basically you have your thumb to support the weight going that way, right? And you have your hand here to support it so that it doesn't flip this way. And then from there, you just jig. And guess what? This is probably the most comfortable that I have found, when it comes to something like this. Instead of actually palming it like this and then, like it doesn't matter what reel I have, and it doesn't matter if it's slow jigging or fast jigging. I hold it like that, and it's easier. Yeah, it's easier. Some people do it like this, some people do it like that, but literally you're just holding the weight, you're not putting force. And guess what, that makes you last longer. So it's kind of technique, more than what do you call this, more than actual hand size, you know uh, so yeah, if that makes sense. What about when fighting the fish? When fighting the fish, first, it's, it's the same thing. This is what I tell people: don't fight your gear, right? Fight the fish, not your gear. And a lot of people, like, kind of, you know uh, so when you have something like this, right, when you're already fighting, okay, and it's a fast jigging rod, not a slow jigging rod, okay. So you just put it on a bucket, rod belt or something. If not, then this is what I do, okay. So see, I put it here just like that, if I'm fighting, and then that's the angle. Okay, I don't move that. That's it, right? So just like that, you have a fish on straight, just like that, and then pull. Okay. Now, for fish like tuna, I don't pump like really long pumps. That's a waste of energy. Okay. For tuna, what you want is actually just increments, because remember that thing is bent, right? So even you don't high stick, just low, right? And then it's my legs that actually do the fighting, like that. I just go like that, right? Instead of pulling. A lot of people pull. Like, guess what? That fish is stronger than you. You know, it's like the weight of the fish times 8. That's pretty much the force that the kind of force that they can exert. So, you know, it's probably strong. It's probably not probably, but it is stronger than you when it's swimming. So this is straight. The moment you pump the rod with your arm, you're spending energy that you shouldn't be. So usually what I do is just like that, and then bend my leg, and this automatically goes up when I bend my legs, and then turn. You know, so, and the most important thing here is to always keep the line tight. Now, when you're pumping like this, what happens is that, you pump, and then once you drop it down, this is what a lot of people do, and you see even experts are doing this. You do pump, then that actually creates slack, and what happens with slack is that it actually, you know has the line. Got to give it a good hump with the pump. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you're literally like humping. So that's it. People get it wrong most of the time. You know, having doing that, and what do you call this? You're spending less energy, and yeah, I mean, having equipment is nice and everything. It's just that a lot of people are getting into things that um okay, let me return these because it's cluttered, and then after that, this has morphed into something else. All right, so let me yeah, you're welcome. Nice day. Well, so here's the problem with the fishing community now, it largely, okay. um and I mean no disrespect, okay. i'm just I am just uh in one hand, I'm happy because we're seeing growth and we're seeing progress. In the other hand, I'm seeing like a huge disparity, and this is something that uh, holds a lot of people back. Okay, do you have any knowledge on the Halcyon? If you don't mind asking about rod question on a real, that's fine. The rod is okay. It's just that I believe there are better rods out there. And I honestly think that as far as fast jigging is concerned, you don't have to spend so much because the Chinese guys have actually caught up. So like you'll find me using rods like you know uh Ikuda instead of a Nature Boys. Halcyon, I wouldn't buy it. I would choose either a Hats or a Nature Boys. That's it. I know the rod. I've actually played with the lighter version. I don't like it. And I honestly think that you could get the same with like something. Uh, Geez. Uh, there's quite a few actually, but check out Hots as well, because Hots, the thing I like with Hots is that the rod actually helps you fight. It has like a nice pull. Uh, but yeah, Nature Boys. Just look at the specs. I forget. There's what do you call this? What arrived? There's hold on. Facebook. Uh, or Instagram actually. There's new ones right now. I can't keep up with the models, to tell you honestly. They have so many models now. Uh, Barrack. The problem is, like for us here, you kind of don't even see the, what do you call this? Um, Nature Boys. Here we go. So I'm looking it up for you, and then I'll put the link. Uh, it's when it comes to choosing rods, it's very subjective. I just find the rod, like the one that I used before, I found it to be I know the action was off. I found the action to be off. There's uh that when they make the rods, they make it according to whoever's designing it. They're making it to the specification that this guy likes. Okay? So if you have a fighting style that kind of is close to yeah, Roxo. It's kind of different for jigging, especially when you're with the hooking the fish and all that. The rod, yeah, definitely when you're lure fishing and all that, where jigging is kind of different. It's a different animal. That's why the guys in the US, they can't figure it out. That's why there are no rods that are US, like take for example from a manufacturer in the US. They can't nail it. There are no rods in the US that are actually good, slow jigging or fast jigging. They don't know what a good rod is. So when you hand them a Japanese rod, they go like, oh, this is weird. you know yeah, jigging is just a different animal. Okay, nature boys, let's see the rod here. Where is that? Just their website is like, I've had like jigging, iron flick. Mm, yeah, it's the iron flick, actually, iron flick aggressive. There's one here. It's max 300. Uh, okay, that's too much though. There we go. This is probably something. Um, yep, here we go. So let me post this. I think this is kind of similar to what you're looking for. Yeah, Takami Technos is good for slow jigging. Oh God, it won't let me post it. I know Takami Technos. I have friends who use them extensively. They're like one of those, but they're good for slow jigging rods, not fast jigging rods. And what you're looking for is a fast jigging. Nice day. Message me on Instagram. Let me actually, you know what? Let me try and shorten this. Uh, okay, there we go. That would work maybe. Okay, so try that. Try read the rod. I mean, look. At the end of the day, I can only recommend those that I've really have experience with, as even with the reels and stuff like that. Especially with the reels, and like these rods that I've used because of friends having them and all that. I would say that the reason why I find them weird is because, um, like I said, each of these rods are made according to the specifications of like the main guy that designed it. Yeah. So what happens is that it's closer to his ideal, and people are different. So some guys would like this sort of action, the other guys would have this sort of action and all this. Um, so at the end of the day, what happens is that, um, if it's closer to the ideal for them, and then when you use it, you actually kind of like it, then great. But then not. If it's slow jigging, I wouldn't use these. I mean, this looks like a fast jigging rod though. You know. Uh, but what do you call this? For slow jigging, I wouldn't use anything but deep liner. I would also not recommend to slow jig for big tuna. That's just dumb. It's no, I not like immediately my mind is like moved towards fast jigging when it comes to big tuna. It's not a good idea to slow jig for big tuna. Just no, you know. Slow jigging, you can't use the rod. You can't, and if you fast jig, you can use the rod. Poseidon slow jerker is at the top of the heap, Roxo. It's what all other rods are based on. So yeah, it's very relevant. In fact, they've just actually came out with a deep water model, uh, and that looked really good. The problem is I also don't like the action. I am uh, I'm my style is more closer to Mr. Haragishima's style. Yes, correct. Um, and um, he basically evolved it. You know what I mean? So um, it's what do you call this? It's something that for me, um, it's like uh, it's like an evolution, right? So he got Mr. Higashimura. His style and my style is closer to his. Like I just don't agree with his reels. uh okay, the thing with like I said, they kind of evolved it, right? They kind of evolved it. So um the rod actions are very similar, but at the same time, you'll find that the deep liner has a broader range. Okay, that's one. So as far as Poseidon or the slow jerker is concerned, at one point they were stuck at max 300, right? Whereas deep liner, because of where he was, and he was fishing in like the swiftest currents in the Pacific Ocean, and that's the Kuroshio. So uh, it's not just a product line expansion, but deep liner has like its own jigs, right? So the jigs, whereas Sato did not, he relied on other brands for the jigs and stuff. It's only recent that he did that. No, Evergreen, no, not Olympic. Um, Evergreen has like an extensive rod. What do you call this offering? And they do their own. So basically with deep liner he adopted to fast currents, and then he made a science out of making the jigs, you know. And then he came up with not only the knowledge that he's learned with Sato, but he evolved it, right? So he has like different styles. Like take for example, he has different rods for different applications, like faster applications, fast pitch, you know. So he has the mania fellows. Whereas with the Sato, the line of rods he has, the you know for presentation, it has the long fall, the regular lengths, and all that, which deep liner also has. But I think yeah, he's just evolved it more. You know, I like deep liner rods for weights over 350. So for any work that I do that's over 350, it's all deep liner. Whereas if it's 350 and below, I use different rods. Like take for example, I have my max 350 would be a hot stiletto, slow style. Um Nice day. You know what? A lot of people would actually say a lot of things. Graphite leader has been around for a really long time. Okay, so they're not bad, even if let's say there's some rods maybe that that maybe not the Poseidon, but some other rods that what do you call this, that is being made for um, evergreen, but an OEM from Graphite Leader isn't bad. There are a lot of rods that are also made by other brands. Okay, like take for example, Deep Liner doesn't make their own rods. Actually, made by someone else. But their own specs and all this. So yeah, rod companies, they're not necessarily what do you call this? The guys that make their own. There's only a handful of rod manufacturers in there's only a handful of rod manufacturers in Japan that actually have their own factories. Okay, and this is why Yamaga is so good. Yamaga and Ripple Fisher, because they have their own factory, they roll their own blanks and all that. And no matter what people say, this is why uh, Tenryu. Yeah, what about Tenryu? We used Tenryu before, you know, and then especially for what do you call this, for the casting bits. We used Tenryu before, but then we chose Yamaga. After a while, we moved on, transitioned to Yamaga. Like I mean, these days, I'll tell you honestly, nice day. I would actually use a lot of Major Craft more than Tenryu. Have you seen Sea Falcon soft plastic micro squid coated jig? What? You mean the slow squid? Do you mean the slow squid? I've used them before. I mean, there's I've used a lot of Sea Falcon products that were not like the when Sea Falcon first started with the market, their product line was huge, man, like really really big. And there are a lot of stuff that have been discontinued because um, it's difficult for them to actually keep it up, and these guys are friends, yeah. Sea Falcon. um, i have a I have a jig here that it's the cutlass. So when it was first introduced, I have a cutlass with all the signatures of the team members that actually worked on it. Major craft stuff, budget friendly and good. Actually, nice day. Their top end is actually really really good. So if you're looking at the giant killings and all that, the cross rides, especially the 5G. Oh my, they're so good. And yeah, I mean, well, they're not really that cheap. The problem is they don't make it available in the US. Let me get back to you on that one. I have to check previous orders. Yeah, it could be the slow squid, I think. Because it's the only one that actually has like the wrap on it. Fish arrows off plastics. Yeah, man. Of course, I've used them. Actually, met the president of Fish Arrow. And Fish Arrows business is not soft plastics. I'm telling you that right now. You'd be surprised what the business of Fish Arrow is. You know. But yeah, they like used a lot of their soft plastics. But the what do you call this? The one that I use is actually a sub brand of Fish Arrow, and their worms. You use the hard baits, yes, because I get a lot of samples from Fish Arrow themselves. So yeah, uh, 5G and 7G stand for fifth generation. So they're having like the fifth generation blanks, and then the seven G is coming. So basically it's like the seventh gen rods. It's usually when they put it on the 5 or 7G, that's kind of like their most advanced stuff. Giant killing depends on the what do you call this, but I mean I have rods that are a few years old and they're still pretty good. It's in Japanese actually, and we went to Japan uh, what do you call this? And we went to Fish Arrow's headquarters, and we went like on a shopping spree there. It only happens once a year, and usually this happens before a few days before the Osaka fishing show. So a friend and I, who owns a tackle shop here, we went on a shopping spree in their HQ, and you know what? Here's the funny thing. So this is the Fish Arrow headquarters. This is a street right here, and then a few buildings down is like Evergreen. So they're neighbors. Um, it was 4 or 6 floors, their HQ, and it's all fishing tackle. Crazy. And then you'll have like, I don't know when was this, like in the ground floor there was like the ground floor where a lot of people were in. That was like soft plastics, and we ordered like a crap load of these soft plastics. They were all I forget the brand, but they're a division of Fish Arrow. Geez, do I have like loose packets of those? But it's in Japanese, so I know that they told me the brand name, but I totally forget because it was in Japanese. And then um, they were mostly worms. So we what do you call it? Neres, sandworms for salt water. So that's what do you call this? Unitaro. I think I think so. I think yeah. I mean, it's so hard to keep up, especially with soft plastics, because not only do I get a lot of samples, I also buy, and then what I do is just put them in binders and stuff, and then if I need something, I just like look at the binders and stuff, and then get whatever I want. Everything, yeah, everything eats shrimp, man. Jeez, I have a shitload of them. Yeah, and then it was from Storm, the coastal 360 shrimp. Those things worked so well, and then it worked so well that Rapala actually brought them back. They didn't bring them back, but the first time they were introduced, they weren't really such a success because of a factory delay. Shit, can I say that? Oops. Anyway, so they were supposed to release it on iCast. Someone or some people screwed up, basically, and they weren't able to reach iCast. Um, so they were released late. So they kind of missed the boat, right? And then now they rebranded. So instead of Storm, they put it on Rapala, which is now branded Crush City. And my God, man, these things, holy shit. It's like holy shit and a half, actually. So I went to the factory when they were still building these things, right? And I got some samples. I tried them out here because we don't have live shrimp here. I tried them out here, and then I was shocked at how good they were. And I was catching all sorts of fish with them, shallow and deep water, different sizes. And then now they're doing really well under the Crush City banner. So I suggest you check those out, like the shrimp. They're really good. Yes, lipless crankbait in saltwater. I catch a lot of cutlass doing that. I actually uh, uh, the small ones, the really small ones, are very important to me. There's a type of fish here that I fish with lipless cranks. Um, the It's the Rapala Rip and Wrap for ice fishing, like the really tiny ones I use on my ultralight gear, and yeah, really good, really good. So, but the bigger ones, I catch cutlass on them. I don't know if it's popular elsewhere and all that, but it's a lot of fun. They're the only lure that I've caught cutlass on like reliably. Even if they're there, you run like let's say I've caught them on like crystal minnows, toby marus back in the day, but the lipless crankbait with the rattling, yeah, rattle traps. Oh boy, they're so good. Also, they work well trolled on a kayak. Yeah, try them on a cutlass. You'd be surprised how good it is, Rock. It's nuts. It's so fucking nuts how good it is. It's a the Koreans love them. The Koreans love them. They're like a really expensive fish in Korea. Any thoughts on the new Jigging Master underhand reel? The underhand reel from Jigging Master has been there for a really long time. This is just a new iteration. Um, Mixed feelings on that. I've used it before. I don't like it. It's geared towards people that are comfortable with spinning gear more than they are with overhead. I have no problems with using a regular overhead, so that's fine. uh, Cestar rods. Use them. Uh, yeah. Okay. I've used them before. Um, Cestar rods, and I nearly actually almost um, invested on them heavily. The problem is they're not that good. Okay. Now, when it comes to rods, I love experimenting, and this is why I'm saying that reels are more important than rods, because rods um rods can change a lot over a course of 1 year, or let's say that over the course of 5 years, you'll find that rod technology actually go comes and goes really fast. Whereas with the reels, um, they don't. So, like, take for example, I have a twin power from 2008, and if I use it, it's still as smooth as it was back then. And if you have a blindfold, you'd think that it's a Stella. That reel is older than my daughter, and she's going to turn 16 soon. Okay. um, the rods that I put on those, it's more than a dozen already. So which one's more important? So a lot of people would say, like, oh, you just buy a good rod and then you'll change the reels and all that. But the rod technology changes faster. And guess what? Most of the people that actually argue when it comes to these things don't have the same access as I do, right? So, like, take for example, I can get reels uh, at two things. Okay, I can get them at a very big discount, and that's at best. At worst, I get them free. Okay, the same with the rods. Okay, so at worst, I get them free. At the very most, I pay at a heavy discount. So a lot of people in the world don't have the same access, so they can only buy one or another, little by little. I can actually get these rods, get these reels all lined up and test them. You know, so I could I could really say that the reels are more important. Now, if you don't share the same opinion, yeah, okay, cool. But coming from someone that can do it, yeah. Uh, Beltfish grilled with sesame and salt. Yeah, man, they're really good. You know what? In the Philippines, especially where I come from in Cebu, we do ceviche, and you wouldn't know the difference between a cutlass and a kingfish, like a mackerel, the king mackerel, when you do it. In fact, a lot of unscrupulous, you know, unsavory individuals would say that it is kingfish, but when in fact it is, so that they can get what do you call this, a higher price. I know this session is about high-end reels, but matching rod questions seem relevant. Yeah, man. I mean, I know how fluid the sessions are, and to tell you honestly, the main reason why I have like a topic at the very top of things is because I have to put something there. You know what I mean? I have to put something there. Now, if I'm just putting, like, yeah, discussing whatever, then but I have to actually give it a bit of direction, because at the end of the day, I want this to be searchable as well. You know, so people, because, like, take for example, when I was discussing this first, like with the reels and everything, and that discussion's done, right? I mean, I've already yeah. The thing that I forgot to mention before we actually move on, the thing that I don't like, right? So this compared to this, yeah. So this is the Z Japan, and this is supposed to be like an upgrade for this. This is heavier. This is freaking heavier than this by a few, but still heavier. So I'm like, why would you want a heavier reel to be like this is more heavy than a blue heaven. Blue heaven is light. This is heavy. And then why would this be in theory more heavy than this when this has carbon parts? So for me, it kind of doesn't make sense. Now, I know I work with Studio Ocean Mark, and I shouldn't be saying this, but when we uh, did our T's and dots, I also told them that, well, if I see something wrong, then that's it. I'll say something wrong. If I see something wrong, I'll say it. There we go. And they said, like, well, fair enough, because that'll keep us on our toes as well. So, just to be fair, I want to be objective. Like, you weigh this and you weigh this is heavier. Doesn't make sense. And it has carbon parts, which is supposed to make it lighter, right? But it's heavier. Cork handles. No. For the most part, no. You could put mineral oil, but that's it. But it changes the color and stuff like that. So most of the time when I use it, after using, I just wipe it down with like what do you call this, with a little bit of water, and then dry it. Immediately dry it. That's the trick. That's it. Otherwise, it'll turn black. Uh, do you know what titanium nitride coating is? Does it not increase sensitivity? No. Uh, okay, titanium as a frame on guides will make the overall weight of the rod lighter, which is what makes it more sensitive. If you put something heavy, or in physics, okay, sound travels more on light objects than dense objects. So basically, if you have a tubular rod, it's going to be more sensitive because it's lighter, it has less mass. So what happens when uh, vibration travels? It vibrates the object, right? It vibrates the object, and that's what transmits it. Now if it's solid, um, it absorbs the vibration, so it dampens it. And that's the whole reason why, um, you know if it's titanium, like the frames and all that, it makes it lighter. That's what do you call this, that's how it is. um, Heard that the Shimano reels on 2000 is the best generation due to the part components during that generation. That is correct. That's the reason why all my reels are still within that generation, and I haven't upgraded them. But yeah, uh, U40. Yeah, it's oil makes it darker. Are you using both left and handed reels? For overheads, it's right. For spinning, it's left. I'll give you the reason why. Also, found straight beeswax seems to be better. Yeah, beeswax actually pretty good because it kind of what do you call this? Uh, they are what do you call this? They're good. It also protects them, but I don't know. It's too much of a hassle for me. So I'd rather just clean that up after. Um, like I have reels here, like my OGMs that have cork handles, and they've been used for years, and they're still good as new. Cestar jigs are good. The rods questionable. You know, um, like the first few batches of their rods, they were highly questionable, man. And we're talking of slow jigging rods. So we had a lot of them here, and I was considering on investing on them. But then here's the thing, right? Uh, they are not rod manufacturers. What they are accessories manufacturers for the most part. So, and they do things really, really good with their accessories. Like, take for example, their assist lines are actually one of the best that I've used. They have really good components like split rings, solid rings, and stuff like that. I jigs. They have really good jigs as well, but rods, I no, I mean, to make your investment just stop where it should, just buy from the guys that actually do really really good rods, so like take for example, for me, I settled on, not settled, I chose deep liner. And deep liner has other sub brands like Garage Nagi, which is a direct competitor to Takami Technos, and they have Kojan. Okay, so those three brands are actually just one brand, and that's deep liner, Deeper's Factory. So if you want to pull on, what do you call this? Pull on your rod when you're fighting fish. You have two Japanese brands to choose from. It would be Takami Technos and Garage Nagi. Those are like kind of at the top of their game. But deep liner, having the direct lineage from Sato, will have like the advantage, because these are kind of like, well, their experience. Basically, as far as Kojant and Garage Nagi is concerned, because these brands exist because Deep Liner tried to do something to fit their brand, and then they said that it kind of doesn't fit this brand, so we're gonna have to make a sub brand so that we could do this because it's still cool. Like take for example, pulling on the fish. So great, but it doesn't fit the branding for deep liner, which is like pure, almost elitist slow jigging, which is the right way, right? But for something hybrid, then yeah, Garage Nagi. uh I don't have Garage Nagi rods, so Wael does. I don't like that kind of fish, that kind of style of slow jigging. I like jigs too. Yeah, I was looking at this and was questioning their history with rods. Their jigs are quality, though. Yes, but I mean, like take for example, I buy reels for those guy from those guys that actually make the reels. Uh, the exception, of course, is Shimano with the rods because they've done like they're doing like really good rods and stuff. And over the years, it has evolved so much. But I won't buy line from Daiwa. I won't buy reels from Daiwa. I will buy reels from Daiwa. You know, uh, I won't buy rods from brands like Cesta, but or Hesta actually. It's the I won't buy rods from Hesta. I'll buy their accessories, and guess what? I have a lot of their what do you call this? I have a lot of their other products. Their assist cords, top notch. Uh, um, Again, it's subjective. Although Garage Nagi has they have actually caught a lot of good tuna on them, like big tuna, bluefin, on Garage Nagi rods. It's just that again, I would not use slow jigging for big tuna. I just won't. I refuse to do it. Like it's so fucking stupid. You know. Uh, at least if you're doing it correctly, okay? Because if you're doing it correctly, I'll tell you what. Hold on. All right. So this is my rod for that sort of fishing. Okay. And then this is my reel. So it's not that I don't know that sort of fishing. I have gear for it. Okay. So this is like Max 900, and this is uh, an L100. Okay. And this is yeah. Anyway, it's not an ordinary L100, but um, I'm gonna have a hard time catching fish that big with this, because if you do it correctly, guess what? This is PE3, so it's gonna take a hell of a long time to do it. Now, by the way, Roxo, look, see, um, max fight strike minimum. So, like for this, it has strike, okay? Because when you're using this, you're supposed to put it on strike. okay, and you're working like any, even all Studio Ocean Mark reels, Blue Heavens have that, okay. So when you're working the jig, bang, okay. Now, at least for their technology, when you push it forward to fight, guess what happens? That is plus 1 kg of drag, and that's, at least as far as this Japanese reel company is concerned, um, it's exact. So whatever you set your strike on, as soon as you put it on fight, it is plus 1 kg. Okay. Now, why is there a need for max? No, you don't need max. You just put it on fight, and then there's that. Some people, some crazy people, okay, like there's this guy. His name is Peter Pakula. You might have heard of him, but this guy, he fishes on sunset. Okay, sunset is literally there. That's max. Okay, but that's for Marlin, and he knows what he's doing. And for most of us humans that don't know much, we just put it on strike, set, and forget. Okay, dokie. So, uh, where are we at here? Uh, there are no Garage Nagi fast jigging rods, and guess what? There's none on Deep Liner or Kojant either, because that's strictly all slow jigging. It's a slow jigging brand. Um, Beeswax scent is an issue to fish. Sickness and good stickiness. Yeah, yeah. Roxo, that's correct. Like beeswax is actually really good. Scent is no issue because it's natural. Um, Only issue I've found with multiple applications to get it right, quite laborious. So just, yes, exactly. That's why I said it's too much work. And I use beeswax a lot for fly tying. So, I'm not too experienced. So far, U40 works well for me. Like I like the darker shade color. Yeah, I mean, it's just that the good thing about having a darker color there, it's like take for example most of my older rods, just because of age, they have like a darker color. Um, One thing I don't like is actually if you coat it, it feels weird after. It just feels weird. So that's one of the things I don't like about cork. It feels weird if you put a coating on it. Um, a lot of all of my top end, not top end, they're not top end, but all of the my decent fly rods have cork handles. So I'm very familiar with cork. Um, and no, I leave them untreated. It's I like the feel, and then if I need them to be moist, I'll just put like a bit of water. With age, because obviously also you can't always keep your hand clean, they will darken. That's fine. It adds character. Yeah. Roxo, trust me, you're not special. Okay, you're not fucking special, dude. Okay, so it's not, sometimes you do stupid things. We all do stupid things, so don't think you're special. That's for all of us. We do stupid shit. That's why we're called fishermen. uh, yes, actually, it's that's very good advice. You have to order your beeswax at the right place. Not all beeswax are the same, and there are a lot of synthetic shit out there. Do you use silicone spray and the spool before spooling the lines and spray somewhere? Tell you what, the best thing that you could ever do before spooling is actually soaking your braid in water. Okay, don't do the silicone bullshit or whatever. Just soak it in water. Okay, what happens when you soak it in water is that uh, the water penetrates, right? And then once you actually spool it, the if you do it right, super tightly, it wicks the water out. But what happens is that it lubricates the fibers. It lubricates the fibers, and wet fibers are actually easier to align and to fit on a spool because it gives them a bit more stretch to be able to fit on the spool tighter. Okay, but you should only do this if you have access to a really good machine. So I use a busted tackle spooler here at home. If not, I just go to the shop. If I have like more than one, what do you call this? One reel that needs to be spooled, I take it to the shop over here at Barracuda, and then I train these guys, so I know that they do it right. So that's that. Does four-strand PE really better than eight-strand when it comes to scoping? Does it make a difference? Shima, very good question. I wouldn't say it's okay. Um, this is the diameter. Okay, so with four-strand braid, there's four strands making up that. Okay, now eight-strand, it has eight smaller carriers that make up the braid. Okay, so as far as what you guys call scoping is concerned, that has a lot to do with the overall diameter more than it is the construction of how you arrive at the diameter. Okay, so a lot of people there use non-Japanese lines. Okay, so take for example, you're using 50-pound test. So 50-pound test. Okay, uh, just for your information, PE2 is actually 40. Okay, in the Japanese scale, 40. But when you say 50 pounds, say Power Pro, or worse, P line, fuck me. So if you say like 50-pound Power Pro, what happens is that that line is thicker. It's way thicker and it will break more than 50. It would probably break at 80. Okay, so essentially you have 80-pound braid. Okay, so it's the diameter, not the makeup. What matters is when those eight or four strands are actually braided. Okay, when you drop down, when you're jigging, it actually compresses and expands. Okay, and depending on the air gap that's between them, it creates stretch, and that's the elongation coefficient of the braid or part of it. That's where it takes a lot of the percentage, and the space. So which has more space? Four lines that go like that, or eight lines that go like that, right? And this is why 4x is more superior when it comes to deep water presentations, is because it has less stretch because of the air gaps. Alrighty, it has nothing to do with like how many strands make up like a diameter. Okay, it has a lot to do with the diameter itself. So again, if you're using PE2, which is standard, it's 40 pound. It's rated at 40 pound. If you're using if you're using like 50 pound, anything American spec, okay, anything American spec will break more than the rated line that it's at. And 50 pound is not a measure of diameter, so they're still using kind of like an archaic system there. Um, But yeah, scoping or kiting, as I call it, has a lot to do with the overall diameter more than it does with the, what do you call this, with the makeup of how many carriers it has. Um, Silicone spray more for corrosion. Uh, if you take off the line of my reels, and you'll see um, if it has corrosion or not. Um, it won't, because the braid is packed in so tight that it won't ever intrude. So basically, also when after I go fishing, I wash. I run it off the water, and a lot of people would probably just spray it and all that, but I literally take the spool, okay, and run water for a few minutes, just so that everything gets washed off. Uh, I think a lot of people skip this step and then they just hose it down. So if you hose it down, yeah, it will corrode. That's it. But um, the thing that comes in contact with water is braid, right? always. So it's the what it's the one thing that goes into the water goes into the guides and all this. So if you actually just wash it like how people wash it, right? They just take the rod, hose it down and everything. If you just hose it down, you're not really taking the salt off. But if you let the water flow through, and that makes a difference. And every so often you actually strip it and then wipe it down underneath. So like take for example, you have another spool, you take off like 300 meters, and that's pretty much the extent of most of the fishing that you've done, like 300 meters or above. So you just wash it down, and that's it. And then you spool it, and you spool it tight, and that's the most important thing, because when the line is super tight, there's no way the water actually stays there, it wicks down. So a lot of people actually don't think about it that way, so also if you have loose line, good luck, because that's a recipe for disaster. Silicone spray, like erosion. Do you ever splice your leader to your braid? For some applications, yes. Fucking good question, man. Fucking good question. Okay, so for some types of fishing, yes, and mostly casting type. Okay, so like take for example, um, I don't show it though. Okay, so for boat casting, like take for example GT, tuna. Okay, so a transition leader, I splice a transition leader, so it's more of a wind on type. Okay, what I show in the video is something very simple that anyone can do it. A transition leader for casting and slow jigging done right, like the way I do it, is so freaking complicated. It takes like a couple of hours for me with like really bad eyes, but not 2 hours. Come on, I'm not that bad. So probably like almost an hour. Just to do it right. So when to use hollow core? You don't. Using hollow core braid for certain applications. Look, hollow core was actually built for trolling, and it all started with Dacron. But hollow core, you don't use it for jigging. You just don't. It's not a good idea to use it. Hollow core, you could use it for transitions though. Can you splice leader onto 4 count or 8 count thread? Uh, hollow 8, not 4. I do run it underwater for a few minutes as well. Does the silicone spray affect the lines, like affecting jigging or casting action? Casting more than jigging. There are line cleaners and those what do you call this, line restorers, as they're called in Japan. Varevas has them. Shit, there's this. I know one guy who actually worked for Sea Falcon, who opened his own business, and he's doing this now. He used to be the marketing guy for Sea Falcon, but yeah, it actually works. Because these lines, there's a silicone coating, and what it does is make it slick more than anything else. So renewing that coating makes the casting farther. For jigging, it doesn't make a much of a difference because you're dropping. you know uh, this is also why pure casting lines are more expensive than jigging lines, because for jigging lines it only has like 1 or 2 coats of the top coat, whereas for casting specific lines, they're more expensive because they have up to like 7 or 8 coats of this top coat that they put on, and it makes it super slick. So it has like a less drag coefficient when it goes through the guides. uh, I need to learn that. Splicing. Please explain why you use left hand for spinning and right hand for conventional. So it's better to use silicone spray for casting. Yes, silicone lines for casting. Shima. Okay. So we're doing basic lessons. See, this is why I love doing lives, because we're interacting and everything. Yeah, if we're just doing like a standard video, it's so freaking boring, and I love interacting with you guys. Um, I need a. See, here's the thing, right? For you guys to be able to understand this, I need a rod that uses the same blank. I have them actually, and one showing. one showing right now. Okay, so I just need to look for the other, right? Uh, so this is one, right? Let me go get another one. But this is light, because I have light and ultralight. So you know, crap. You know what? I realized they're actually all casting. I should have a spinning. Aha! There it is. Alrighty. You guys are lucky. All right. So essentially, um, these rods utilize the same blank. All right, and this way we get apples to apples. This is medium heavy. All right. So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take like the medium heavy version of this motherfucker as well. Just a second. Okay. So medium heavy, and this thing is also medium heavy. Okay. Uh, Almost. All right. So I would say the construction for this is similar, if not the well, it's the same. All right. So the reason why you want the two to be like the same when you're comparing is because you have say 4 to 10. This is also uh, why is it different? Oh, this is light. Crap. So it's the wrong rods. That's why I was like, what? Hold on. Let me get one. wh- wh- what are the chances of actually like pulling one, right, and immediately after pulling the other you find the ones that switched? So this is exactly what happened. So 10 to 20, okay, you have this, and it is medium heavy, and this is medium heavy. As you can see, they literally, these guys actually use the same blank. Okay, now all right, let's put it there. So okay. So is everyone actually tuning in for this? Why for spinning it's left, and why for bait casters or overheads it's right? Okay, so this we're talking of the default setting. All right, the default setting. So basically, when spinning rods were first invented, all the handles were actually not not switchable, and they were all on the left. And then for bait casters, they're all on the right. That's a given. So if you look at all the brands of the baitcasters, you will find that the left-hand trend was started by Avid and Accurate. Okay, before Avid and Accurate, a lot of the reels that you will find are all right-hand overheads. Okay, only that's it. But when Avid and Accurate started making for left-handers, because guess what? The twins are left-handed for Accurate. Yeah, they're left-handed, and then one guy from Avid is also left-handed, so they made left-handed reels. All right, hold on. I need a bait casting reel. Okay, that reel is fit for that. So that bait caster. Ah, right. So um, down the line, what's gonna happen is that when we need something like this, I will have like my stand with the reels all there, and then we could just like pick. Right now, I have everything on like a freaking thing. Anyway, so for this, we'll put this reel, which is a 4,000, and guess what? The opposite of a 4,000 when it comes to uh, bait casters, it's like a 200. All right, so something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we have this, and then we have that. So this is literally kind of like a. Uh, Actually, you know what? It could be a 3,000. So let's get a 3,000 to get it a bit more balanced. Medium heavy is supposed to be like about a 4,000. All right, so just to make it also kind of like lighter, right? So that it's this is light, this is light. So as far as weight is concerned, they're like the same. All right, now spinning reels historically they were built for a single purpose. It's actually to cast light lures. That's it. Okay. So when it was invented to cast light lures. So you're able to cast it. Now, what do you do with the light lure? All right. With the lighter lure, what you need is a rod that's also whippy. Okay. Because if you put something light on a stiff rod, it won't go far. So you need a soft tip. Okay. Now, when you look at the rod, it has several parts. It has the tip, and then it has like the backbone. Okay. And it's no different from a bait caster. It has a tip, right? And it has a backbone. Now, with bait casters, remember that when this was invented, and even now, you actually need a lot of weight for you to be able to load the rod and cast it. All right? Are we there? Now, the reason why you need to reel with your hand, with your left hand, has nothing to do with the reel. It has a lot to do with the rod. So you have a rod that's soft at the tip, okay? And then you have your, because of the nature of how this rod is designed, okay, the backbone actually starts way at the back, as you can see there, okay? So that's the stiff part. It starts there. You see it? Okay? You see where the bend is? Now, for a bait caster, look, look where the bend starts. See? It's farther, right? It's farther. It's farther up. Okay? So what happens is that you need your dominant hand to be able to bring the rod up so that you're able to lift the fish with the backbone. So you need your dominant hand to be able to lift the rod. Okay? On a bait caster, it doesn't happen that way because the backbone is already there, right? So you don't need your dominant hand. What you need to do is hold it with your less dominant hand to be in position and concentrate on your dominant hand on reeling. You know why? Because the fastest bait casters are still slower compared to the spinning reels, because the fastest reels bringing in line is actually the spinning reel. So basically, it has a lot to do with the rod. You need your dominant hand to pull so that you're able to reach the backbone immediately. Otherwise, you're actually spending a lot of energy just trying to wind the line in, and you're not getting a lot because you're not pumping the rod correctly with your weak hand. But if you have the rod on your dominant hand, you can pump, bend the rod, get to the backbone, the part that lifts the fish. Whereas with a bait caster or overhead, you already have the backbone there. All you have to do is just keep it up and then reel. Now, if you think that this is bullshit, why can't you flat wind on a spinning reel, but you can do it on an overhead? It's because the reel, okay, like literally, you can wind the fish in without pumping. That's called flat winding. And that it's a legitimate technique in slow jigging, where you point the rod and then just reel. It's the line that doesn't travel on an angle on the rod basically transmits the power of the rod directly to the reel and vice versa. Okay. Whereas with the spinning reel, you freaking have to pump it to be able to lift the fish and gain line. That's it. Now, if you're doing that with your right hand and you're right-handed, you're doing it in a very inefficient way. So that's it. It has a lot to do with the rod, not the reel. So that's why I always tell my students, right? So when they, like, up to you. A lot of people don't know this answer, and they will tell you, oh, it's about preference and all this bullshit. They don't understand how a rod works. So that's it. Now, up to you guys. If you want to do that, or you just want to keep, preference and all this, that's great. But it is what it is. It's physics. Shima, I hope it answered your question. I know it's like, I don't really explain that. Okay, I don't really explain it. I don't really say. I always say like, oh, there's a good reason why, because a lot of people tend to argue. Even if you actually give them the right information, they'd still go, yeah, but I'm used to it and all that. So that's up to you. There's a lot of people that, like, there's some people that I've taught, and they tell me that I'm continually losing fish. Why? Like, why else? A very good, what do you call this example? He keeps on losing fish. And then I said, like, well, you know, my friend uses Salt X to Corrosion X or something like that. Yes, Shima, because they don't know. They don't know. That's the Salt X. If it's anything like Corrosion X, you know what? Braid is inert. It can take a lot of abuse, but I wouldn't stretch it out. So yeah, just take note. You can usually look for a tech sheet and then see exactly if what degrades polyethylene. But as far as I know, polyethylene or PE line, which is the same as braid, by the way, you have Dyneema and you have Spectra, right? So these two lines, they're basically the same, except for different molecular differences. And these molecular differences are basically um, what 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 enables Spectra and what enabled Dyneema to patent the raw material. Okay, but both of these are basically what is it? It's a high pressure polyethylene fibers. That's what they are. HMPE. Or high what's this high pressured molecular what's that HMPE, uh, uh, high modulus polyethylene. There we go. That's high modulus polyethylene lines or fibers. And the difference is like a few molecule, one or two molecules. The difference, that's it. Spectra and Dyneema, that's it. Shima, a lot of people would say that. A lot of people, because they don't know this. But literally, it's physics. And if you check, like, the same rods, you'll find that one is actually like softer than the other. See, if you do that, right? See, and then this one, it's stiff. You'll find that it doesn't vibrate as much. That's it. Look, this has more guides. This has more epoxy, and based on that, just that alone, it's already stiffer. Uh, you know, so you have like less guides, less epoxy. So when you bend, it's softer, basically. But as far as blank construction is concerned, even if they're different, the what do you call this? The if you purposely and correctly build a bait casting blank, it's still going to be stiffer than its spinning counterpart, because that's it. Like, spinning rods are designed to cast lighter lures. Okay, so it goes back to that. Now, there are changes in rod technology, manufacturing process, and all of this. But even if you put two and two together, you'll find that it's the way it is. That's it. So a lot of people would say like whatever's comfortable to you. But guess what? After a while of using something, um, it's going to get comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, shit, man. It's not natural to wear a condom, right? But guess what? if you if you're messing around, you're gonna have to get comfortable, and before you know it, it's like second skin. But that's exactly how it is, you know. So yeah, it's and just like with the raincoat, you know what I mean. Some people don't like it, some people don't, and even if what do you call this? Even if it's the right thing to do, they ignore it. So it depends, right? Recommended fishing. I use Navionics because I fish in the salt, right? But see, that's just for reference. You know what I mean? Majority of the time, I look it up for reference, and then after that, I go out to wherever the area is, have my fish finder, and then map out the place on my own. Because most of these apps, I don't trust them, and most of the time, they're useful just as like an overhead view, but never really something specific. So yeah, that's that. Can you spice it? Like, by the way, rock. Just going back to your question, splicing leader to 4 count or 8 count thread. Um, if it's hollow, four x, there's no such thing as hollow 4x. It starts at 8. Okay, so 8x hollow, and then see, if you tie an FG or an APR correctly, it doesn't matter if it's 4 or 8. You're able to do it really tight and really short, then it's fine. That's that. Okay, so anyway, uh that's it, I guess, guys. It's been like almost 2 hours now. That's incredible. So I first started out talking about reels, and then we kind of morphed things up out to like more general knowledge stuff. So uh, that was fun. And do you guys still have like questions and stuff that I could answer? My God, I really have to arrange this. Like, the stacks of reel boxes that I have around laying around here is getting too much. I am going to all the lives that I have. Okay, man, my pleasure. Nice day. And if you have more questions and if you wanna chat, reach out, guys. Everyone, okay, reach out to me on Instagram. Okay, that's the easiest way to reach me. When are you gonna have the on-field action? Yes, man. Um, I planned supposed to be today. I'm going. I was going out and do like a is Opus silicone. I don't know what the silicone spray. But if it's silicone, it should be fine because they use silicone to coat the braid anyway. And like I mentioned, braid is largely inert. What size of twin power will I buy for shore jigging? Okay, there's light shore jigging, there's heavy shore jigging. Which one? Or ultralight shore jigging? Which one? So there's several. Like, take for example, if you're doing like heavy shore jigging, then you would need an 8,000 up to a 14,000. Some rods like what I have here, which is the heavy. Like how heavy is heavy? Because it's relative, right? And I need to know exactly what you're going after and what type of jigs you're using. Like uh, how if you say heavy, my heavy is like 500 grams, right? So for sure jigging, it's actually about 150. 150, 100, 130. 80 is just about the start. So 80 to 150 or 80 to 200 actually in some cases is heavy, at least for me, right? So um, what's heavy? Your heavy could be 30 grams. You know what I mean? So when you say like heavy stuff, tell me exactly what weight you're looking at. Night X. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys a very good example here. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Shima. So this is the rod I have. Okay, so I'm sharing. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna zoom in just so you guys can see. Okay. For boat casting, I have the Ocean Ridge. Uh, there, runner exceed. Okay, so you look here. I have the big dog runner exceed. Okay, so I have the 103H. Is this 102 nano plug model? Okay, so going down. Oh, it's the one before that. So this is my rod right here. Okay, this is the Runner Exceed 108H, and I can do max PE5. I have that PE5, and then I have a max 130 jig. So that's literally what I'm using. And now for the reel, you can find here that it's the range is like 8,000 to 14,000. So it's kind of relative, right? Heavy for some people is not really heavy for some, right? 100 grams. So you are looking at either an 8, 10, or a 14. So Shimano, hold on. Let me get my reels. So these are 14,000 sized reels. Okay, so um, actually no. So hold on. Like the spool's not here. Let me get a spool. Let me get a proper spool. Okay, because I want to be as accurate as possible. Uh, all right, so that's an issue. All right, so I don't know where my spools are. Anyway, so this is an 8,000. Um, and these are the body of the reel for 8,000 up to a 14,000, actually the same. Okay, so when you're buying a reel, let's say twin power. Where's the twin power? Okay, so this is a twin power. So this is a twin power body, and this is an 8,000. But the spool I have on here is an aftermarket spool from Studio Ocean Mark, and it's a 16,000 size. So it can fit 8, 10, 14, 16. This is an older model twin power. Okay, just so you know. So, um, and this is a PG as well. So this is for my jigging. So um, you can use a 10,000 or a 14,000 on the bigger end, and you can, like, take for example, if you buy a 10,000 and they buy a 14,000 spool, you can interchange it. Okay, 14,000 body, 10,000 spool, again same thing. My advice, especially with the newer ones, yeah, my advice is actually go with a bigger spool. Like, take for example, if you're choosing between a 10,000 and a 14,000, get the 14,000, because you're actually gaining some distance and capacity as well. Okay, so that's the what do you call this, something that you need to actually think about. um, for this purpose, especially if you're casting like 100 up to 130 or whatever, do that. Do you buy the spare fulls of Shimano to the reels? Super hard to find. Do you know where to buy? Yeah, well, they're actually like what do you call this? They are discontinued. So the best way is to actually just look for aftermarket. eBay, probably you would find them, but uh, I have spools, so at least for me, that's not really much of a problem. And I've actually upgraded mine since, like, for like Studio Ocean Mark spools, because they're just better. Um, so as far as that is concerned, there's no need for me. But yeah, you could try eBay, and all this. I think it's worth noting that for these reels, 2008 to 2013, you are looking at the same fit for both Twin Power and um, Stellas. So you can buy Stella spools that put it on Twin Powers, and then Twin Power spools you can put it on Stella reels. So that's something. Uh, yeah, Shima, all good. What do you call this? Pleasure. Do you know Colt Sniper XR are decent rods that won't break the bank? Yeah, Colt Snipers, they're not bad, but it's just like, um, I would stick with major craft. Like the newer major craft, I think they're cheaper. Um, like the 5Gs, they're super good. So instead of actually spending on a brand like Shimano, I'd probably go more with, like, because, man, I mean, they're so cheap now. I mean, that it's the major craft. Even with the 5G, they're so cheap. It's crazy, and it's such a sad thing for people to actually get a hang up on. Well, the problem is, if you're in the states and then you can't get these rods because they don't sell the rods in the US, and that's a problem. But if you can get these rods, they're so different from what a lot of people think they are. So that's that. Anyway, any more questions? We've passed the 2 hour mark. Wow, it's like, sometimes I like, there's this tying video. I was so afraid that people were gonna ask questions, and I kept on answering, and then it would be longer. So now that video is actually being watched a lot. It's earlier today, that was when I tied the assist hooks. So yeah, that was something. So yeah, kind of what do you call this? Kind of interesting. Like, All right. Anyway, so all right, guys. I think I'm gonna end this now. Sean, hey, yeah, if it sells them in the, if they sell it in the states and stuff, that's great and all. It's just that it takes a while for all the Japanese stuff to actually reach the US. That's the problem. And they don't the US division. Okay, they're not really like a division of, because Major Craft doesn't have a stake in this company. They're basically just a distributor. But Major Craft, the distributor of Major Craft in the states, okay, the problem is they themselves don't know how to choose. So they're still in the learning process, and you know, for after a while, I think what's going to happen is that there's going to be a parallel, right? And then when that happens, then great. Like, uh, I would not actually have uh, what do you call this? I wouldn't have like a harder time to explain things for the guys there in the states. Like, take for example, when when you're saying what do you call this? This rod is good and all that, and then they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Their stocks are not there. Yeah, when like take for example, when I tell people like short jigging rod this, and then the model's not there, or like they have something that's not the same, and then people will have a different experience, obviously, right? I mean, like take for example, there was one guy who actually said, Major Craft is not as good because he was comparing Sol Para, which is an entry level rod, with like a cheap, which is really like really bad, and then um, with a top end rod from another brand. So and his reason was that, oh, this is the only one so that I can get here. So I mean, how are you supposed to like talk to someone like that, right? So it's very difficult. So if Major Craft USA, or whatever the heck they want to call themselves there, actually have these rods for sale there, the more that people are able to access them, and would be parallel with what we're talking about, especially with take for example, when you're talking about short jigging rods or even ultralight rods. The ultralight rods that are sold in the states are totally different from like aji rods that are sold in what do you call this, uh, Japan. You know what I mean? So that's that. uh, so yeah, that's it. Anyway, I'm gonna go off. It is 1:30 in the morning here, so you I'm gonna get some rest. But thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. And then I'll have another live tomorrow, because I'm gonna do this as an everyday thing. I really like interacting, with you guys. So it's what do you call this? It's fun, righty. So I'll see you guys again. It's like I went live earlier today, I think, and then tonight I did that as well, and then I'm gonna do this more because um, what do you call this? I want to find the right time to go live, so that a lot of people would be able to like watch and talk, So that's I'm still in the process of actually looking. So we'll see. I'm still kind of random at this point in time, and also remember, with the interviews and all that, right? So I wanna actually get on that. Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Hello, bye.